Good evening. I am Tasos Tzikas, President of TIF-HELEXPO and Technopolis ICT Business Park in Thessaloniki. Today I'm here as the moderator of a highly interesting panel having to do with the role of private investing. Before saying a few words about the topic of the panel, I would like, first of all, to thank AMCHA for your kind invitation to participate in this highly interesting panel that deals with Thessaloniki and its role in creating a new innovation and technology hub. So having experienced this need for Thessaloniki to become a technological hub, for about 30 years, I have been dealing with the sector of new technologies. I could say that, in my opinion, Thessaloniki, despite the adverse conditions and despite the fact that only the last years it has been recognized as being able to play this role as a hub. During the last years, there were no strategies so that Thessaloniki could become a hub. However, still, Thessaloniki, during the last years, has developed a very important ecosystem. In brief, I can mention the role of EKETA, the role of the three universities, the role of Technopolis Thessaloniki, the incubators, the significant initiative of Thesintech during the last years. So Thessaloniki, despite the distance from the center, or maybe due to this reason, it has created an ecosystem that can become what we have only dreamt of. We tried to achieve this during the last decades, but we haven't managed it to create this new pole of investments, technology and innovation. Today we have three highly distinguished people who have a lot of important things to tell us. We have with us Mr. Panagiotis Karampinis, who is Managing Director of Endeavor Hellas, a young man, graduate of the University of Piraeus, from the finance school with a lot of experience with regard to business coaching through synergies for their development. We thank you very much, Mr. Karampinis, for being with us. We also have with us Mr. Konstantinos Lafkas, graduate of the University of Athens, of the Metovio University, and he's a co-founder and partner of Uni.Fund, funding startups with more than 20 years experience. Thank you very much, Mr. Lafkas, for being with us. And we also have Mr. Marcos Veremis, co-founder, president, and CEO of Upstream for many years.
BigPi.
And today he is a partner of BigPi Venture Capital. Thank you very much, Marcos. Marcos has been in the market for many, many years. I think he represents the experience and this new ecosystem. So thank you, Marcos, for being here. He's a graduate of the University of Warwick and Oxford University. So thank you all for being here. I would, in the first phase, each one of you will have 5 minutes at your disposal to talk to us about your experience with your business presence in the market and their relationship with the private investing in Greece and in Thessaloniki in particular. Or, okay, let's talk about Greece in general in the first phase, and in the second phase we will talk about Thessaloniki in particular, as well as about other cities in the regions, because there is need of ecosystems in all cities of Greece. So I will give the floor to Mr. Panagiotis Karampinis, Managing Director of Endeavor Hellas. Mr. Karampinis, the floor is yours. Thank you very much for your kind invitation in this highly interesting event. I hope the internet connection is okay. First of all, I'm very excited because we're talking about the region of northern Greece and Thessaloniki. And northern Greece and Thessaloniki is going through a very exciting phase. We have Cisco, Deloitte, Pfizer, and others, and the timing is very, very good. And I'm sure that we're talking about a region that will be very different in a few years. So let me say a few words about Endeavor Hellas. We have thought of setting up offices in Thessaloniki as well. And we have 20 companies being members in the Endeavor Hellas network. These are enterprises that want to have access to foreign markets and foreign investors. Can you see my slides? So a few words about Endeavor. It is an international, non-profitable organization. It was set up in Greece in 2012. In 1997, we started worldwide. Endeavor is a mission-driven global organization leading the high-impact entrepreneurship movement. It was founded on the belief that job creation, innovation, and overall prosperity flourish where there is robust support for high-impact entrepreneurs. And how do we do this? We work with the high-impact entrepreneurs, that is the top innovators of the country, businessmen who have the biggest ambitions, the most innovative ideas, and the capacity to realize them, and the willingness to reinvest their packages and their networks, to reinvest it to other businessmen. Worldwide, we have selected about 2,089 enterprises. The Endeavor network is quite large. And our network is in 37 markets. We are getting larger and larger in countries that are secondary countries, countries that don't have fully developed ecosystems of innovation. And for these, Endeavor works as a catalyst, we could say. Because they are secondary countries, we don't have easy access. It is difficult to know the cases, to identify the cases that could be successful. It is difficult to identify which are the people who are the top influencers or the top innovators in these countries. So we have experience to identify these. In 2012, we came to Greece. We have quite a big track record right now. We have created 14,000 jobs, indirect jobs and direct jobs. We have 35% average of compound annual growth. These figures are impressive. The model of our organization is that we bring together people who want to create success stories. So we bring the young people with the older ones who have the experience and knowledge from the past. So the old success stories are in more traditional models, and we have the new success stories that are more high-tech, but we bring together the people of the old success stories and the new success stories, and one learns from each other. On the other hand, we have programs that through these people we are trying to find is to identify which will be the next success stories. Right now, we have managed to gather together, to bring together the most successful success stories. But we don't have only our central program, we have other programs as well, and many enterprises of Thessaloniki participate. For example, we have the F&B and Retake. We have our own accelerator that we started last year and already has expanded quite a lot and has brought together entrepreneurs of Greece and abroad. And lastly, we have our platforms such as Working Tech that are very, very important and play a highly significant role. Working Tech is a new platform targeting skilled tech experts abroad, both Greek and non-Greek, looking to connect and break into the local tech scene. It is a platform for innovative Greeks. Through this synergy, we have created this platform so that anyone in the world who gets inspired by an innovative story of the country, they can give us their CV and we can get in touch with the country and bring them in contact with. So applicants can demonstrate their interest in working in the Greek tech industry by filling out a simple application form, entering a global registry of talented individuals. Leading candidates who will then be connected according to their profile to the country's fastest growing employers. The second venture is the podcast, the Outliers podcast. It is the first endeavor Greece's podcast series, the people behind the most successful startups in Greece and abroad. They narrate their own journey and pinpoint the challenges and the opportunities they see in their industry. Thank you very much. This first presentation was really, really interesting because you showed us a path and that you have experienced and can help our country with regard to private investments. Now the floor is given to Mr. Konstantinos Lafkas, co-founder and partner of Uni.Fund. Good evening. I'm really delighted because Thessaloniki is the place where I started working. Of course, many years have passed by, but I feel very closely connected with Thessaloniki. I don't know if you can share my screen.
Ναι, σας ακούμε και βλέπουμε και την οθόνη σας. Ωραία.
So I will try to abide by my 5 minutes. A few words about Uni.Fund. As our name says, our aim Our target is to bring entrepreneurship closer to universities and the research community. It is a journey that of the members of the team do not have a typical VC. Most of them come either from corporates or large organizations. We have founded our own enterprises, and we have professors of the wider academic world. Some figures right now, we have invested already in 23 enterprises. Characteristic is that we don't have only one specific sector. We are very proud because we have invested from Crete to Thessaloniki, from Ioannina to Patras. So we're talking about the whole Greek territory. And we're very proud of this. The fund size is 30 million euros. We have seen more than 1,000 cases. We have already done 10 follow-on investments completed. We have already invested 13.3 million euros, and the median ticket is 350 euros. I don't want to tire you with figures. What is important is how we can make the best of our ecosystem. Very characteristic of our fund, but also this applies for everyone, is the hands-on development. That is the groups that are close to universities don't just need a fund, but they need this interconnection, this contact, this communication. Here we have pictures from trips to the United States, specific events. Here we have an innovation event in collaboration with SIT from Tel Aviv, and this is Katerina Parmaki with our professor, Mr. Kouretas, with a company on which we have invested. So hands-on development, working hand by hand. EquiFund has helped significantly with, I think it is the fuel that has helped a lot the system to develop. Incubators and accelerators have played a significant role, and they were developed further. What we are still behind is the Technology Transfer Office. From an investment point of view, where are we? I would say that the equity funds covered some gaps, but still we need more funding to cover sectors such as friends and family, competitions crowd, angel investors, because they help the teams to move from one phase to the other. With regard to the ecosystem, what differentiates us from the other ecosystems is that we are a shallow ecosystem. It means that we don't have vertical funds, but and the maturity is wider. We need to get deeper. I think the ecosystem is evolving and progressing right now, and within the next years, we will see more focused funds. A characteristic that I always emphasize is that money and bootstrapping is always necessary. The team gets more mature, it creates a more firm relationship and makes the group more committed. So bootstrapping is very important. It is very important within the next years to focus on the role of angels and incubators. And in the Uni.Fund, we see these two together because the combination of angels and incubators give the best result, so that the acceleration is better in the progress of the groups. Business validation I'm very happy with what Endeavor has achieved recently, because I believe the role of corporations, either we're talking about large Greek corporations or subsidiaries of large multinationals, it is very important to have revalidation. We need more involvement of local companies for sure, and local offices of multinationals, some new trends. I think we have improved significantly during the last years, but we will see more focused on efforts within the next years. We need to have more tax benefits. This has to do with the angels, and all these will render our ecosystem much, much more attractive. So we have become better, but we can become much, much better. There is still room for improvement. The Red Queen effect, do we get fast enough? I would say we get fast, but I think that we are back compared to the others. The Red Queen has to run faster and faster in order to keep still where she is. So that is exactly why we should be faster. The learnings, I've already talked about these. We need to get more connected and have more connected and educated stakeholders. We need to scale up in a systematic way. More corporations to get involved. Benefits are needed, particularly for private individuals. More focus, and I want to show you this. This is the image of the Voyager when getting out of our solar system. So it is a journey of evolution. We should evolve more and more every day. And I want us to get better, and I want Thessaloniki to get better because I particularly love Thessaloniki. Thank you very much, Mr. Lafkas. Yes, it is a journey of evolution, and exactly because you love Thessaloniki, we will talk more about Thessaloniki in the second part of our panel. Now the floor is Mr. Veremis to you. The microphone is off.
Δεν σας ακούμε, κύριε Βερέμη. Δεν σας ακούμε.
Λέω καθώς το θέμα μας είναι ο ρόλος των ιδιωτικών.
Since we're talking about the role of private investing in the evolution of the innovation and technology, my experience since 2001 that I started in Thessaloniki was that the first 13, 14 years of the enterprise, there were no Greek equities. The next part of my career, that was after the selling of Upstream. I myself became investor in 2014, 2015. It was in an environment where there were equities in Greece. So I have experienced both scenarios. The first part, when there was absence, it was a difficult environment because there was no potential to do the R&D that was necessary. They had to fund through their profits. That's what we did in Upstream and become a relatively bootstrapped company. The advantage was that the company belonged to the management entirely, but the disadvantage was that the path was much more difficult and probably we could have developed even more. I have no doubt, looking at the statistical data of the Greek technology, that the advent of the Jeremy funds and the Equi funds have accelerated clearly this ecosystem. What I want to say, when upstream did its exit around $150 million in 2014, we were the only exit in the sector of technology, and in fact, there were no more companies. After 2014, when there were equities, this ecosystem went to 4.5 billion and about 6,000 employees. This is clearly connected to Jeremy and equifunds. If one sees the overall image of equities, we have 300 million, and even looking on the surface, looking on the return on these investments, it seems that the yield is very, very high. So the role of private investing for sure has been a very important element that allowed the innovation system to work. BigPi is one of these equifunds. We have invested on 23 corporations. We have already some corporations that seem to have high perspective, and we have discovered some things that I can share with you from our experience so far. The first thing is that the biggest wealth of Greece is found outside Greece. Looking at the technological ecosystem in the United States and looking at Greek funders, we will see that we have $150 billion. And why does this concern us? It concerns us to the degree that most of these corporations want to have presence in Greece, and these people are either highly experienced, like Mr. Bourla or Mr. Papadopoulos or Mr. Kankos or Mr. Giannakopoulos, who represent the patriarchs of biotechnology in America. We can talk about middle-sized enterprises and small enterprises founded by Greek people. So we have a lot of Greek businessmen who started abroad and now want to come here. So as a conclusion, number one, there is high acceleration if we need this network of diaspora that for many, many years Greece hadn't done. Fortunately, Greece started doing this with great success. Conclusion number two is that the physical presence play less role than in the past. The COVID pandemic contributed to this. What does this mean? This means that people can live wherever they want in Greece and being equally productive as going to the office. So many, many people we have lost due to brain drain are likely to come back. And the other issue is that we can bring to Greece talents from the regions around us. Either we're talking about Bulgaria or German or any other countries, neighboring countries, Serbia. This means that we don't have only the human capital that is here, but we also have the potential of human capital that is wherever in the neighboring region or even in countries that are further away. So this is a very good opportunity for Greece. Conclusion number three is that Greece has a comparative advantage that didn't have in the previous phase of technology. When we had a lot of marketplaces, we had too many B2C, Airbnbs. So it is not by so things have changed. When we enter to companies in which the product and their technological infrastructure is more important and their IP tools and their IP, with regard to this in Greece, we have a comparative advantage we didn't used to have. We have a great number of researchers, professors, PhD people I think I read that 3% of the worldwide publications come from Greek scientists. So we realize that this is very, very important. What does this mean? It means that, yes, we have a relative comparative advantage in order to have investments on the deep technology that is coming. So this is another conclusion. And closing, I would like to say that the state has harmonized with an effort that started without the state. So this ecosystem started working independently from the state, but fortunately the state allowed the Equifunds and Jeremy to operate in Greece, but also at an institutional and legislative framework. Many of the essential changes have started taking place. Important changes, for example, 50% discount to Greeks from abroad who want to come back, the part of capitalization in R&D that is highly significant. And lastly, I would say that even more traditional organizations have started contributed to innovation, creating and have created innovation centers and technology transfer offices. So the private investing is always the key for such an ecosystem to flourish. We do have these to some extent, and this is reflected to the outcome of this sector, which represents a different approach overall in the economy of the country that says what? That Greece failed as an economic model because we didn't have a positive commercial balance sheet because there was no differentiation of products that could be exported. And the main reason why we didn't have such products was that never in Greece did we invest on research and development. But fortunately, this is happening today, and that's why I am optimistic that first of all we have realized that what we were lacking, and so we can take the necessary initiatives. Thank you very much. So something changes, your message is optimistic, an ecosystem has been developed. So closing, I would like you to say a few words about Thessaloniki. Thessaloniki has developed an ecosystem, as we've already said, Technopolis, Thesintech, Ketap, universities, incubators, investments of Deloitte on Technopolis with 570 employees, Pfizer, Cisco, so things are happening. So each one of you have 1 minute to answer. Can Greece within the next year become the California of Greece and Thessaloniki to become Boston? So you have 1 minute to answer, each one of you. Mr. Karampinis. I think that no city and no region can become a California of Greece and Boston of Greece. I think that one of our top priorities is that we need to find our own narrative and for sure to learn from ecosystems that have been so far successful but can develop and evolve even better. For sure, the fact that Deloitte, Cisco, Pfizer have come to Greece are great opportunities for Greece. Greece and Thessaloniki itself can find there are own narrative to become the hub of innovation and technology that will give momentum to the ecosystem. Thank you very much, Mr. Karampinis. Mr. Lafkas, I will totally agree with Mr. Karampinis. I would like to say in 2012, I was found in Cisco in the headquarters, and we were wondering why the model was successful. And they said simply because we don't look at what Israel is doing. Of course, it is difficult to become Israel, but we have to learn from others' best practices. Okay, from Silicon Valley, from MIT, from different countries, but we can learn from them and have our own narrative, and we can become even better. We can become the best, the better Salonika, the better Athens, the better Greece. We need to find practices that fit to us. I believe that the biggest bet for Thessaloniki is on one hand, to take advantage of these large corporations such as Pfizer, Deloitte, Cisco. And of course, if the 580 employees become 3,000 employees one day, this will be a great success. But let us not forget that such corporations function as the universities that we don't have to teach this entrepreneurship philosophy. So we have to make the best of this opportunity. And the second point I would like to make is that as the rest of Europe, Greece as well will experience the shortage of trained staff. It is the greatest opportunity to bring also foreigners who are not satisfied with the regime in their countries to come here and create a very fresh cosmopolitan talent hub dealing with innovation and technology. So, closing, to sum up, we could say that Thessaloniki has created an ecosystem that can play the role of a hub of new technologies and talent innovation. And I would like to say that in October, as the president of HELEXPO, I invite you to beyond the new fair that we want to establish for Southern Europe and the Balkans. So the message is optimistic. Thessaloniki can succeed. So let us arrange to meet in Beyond for this digital transformation that Greece and Thessaloniki can carry out. Thank you very much for your substantial contribution to our panel. Thank you very much.